Hi, thanks for watching. Right off the bat, if you are easily offended, please stop watching now and go watch something else. I shit you not. So, I'm glad that my children are now adults. And like most people, I was shocked when I read about the future curriculum for children in this new normal with sex education for 6 and 7 year olds. Wow, was I wrong? Because it has already been rolled out in Scotland. And this report is about last year. So before I read on, you have been warned. Right, to start with, you can use your imagination as to what that's advertising. Now I'll read out this report. By James MacDonald. A week or so before Christmas, I dug out the Muppet Christmas Carol for my 6-year-old. I wanted to show him how I remember Christmas, and most of the current fare on offer was just a bit too woke, to use the common parlance. This is a route I see many parents go in these days. Quite a few people I know have done away with the television altogether, and severely restricted all other viewing. I'm sure there's a market for the BBC to release old classics like The Box of Delights around this time of year, but that's not on their agenda. Precisely what the BBC's agenda is will have to be subject of another article. So it was at Christmas, at that most precious time of the year for every family, whilst watching the Muppet Christmas Carol with my 6-year-old son, that my wife appeared at the living room door and summoned me conspiratorially into the hall. After waving goodbye to Gonzo and Miss Piggy, I followed my wife out, noticing she was now getting quite teary. She handed me a piece of paper and sat down on the stairs, head and hands. On the piece of paper was a picture of 2 adult figures, one male, one female. This is easily to discern, as the figures were both stark naked. My next observation was the lines radiating from below the figure's waist, and then, in my son's immature handwriting, were the names of various parts of the male and female genitalia. Words like penis, vulva, testicles. It's hard to describe the shock. I was confused, but my wife was deeply upset, almost traumatized. She had taken this page from his school workbook. His teacher giving every parent some classwork to view over the holidays. If you don't have little ones in your life, it may be difficult to understand the shock of reading words like penis and vulva in a scribbly child's hand. But for parents who care deeply about their children and worry about every moment they're out of sight, it feels like deep abuse of the principles of local parentis by the school and the teacher. The incident set me on a month-long investigation to find out just what else my 6-year-old boy was being exposed to. The result of that investigation made my initial shock seem utterly ridiculous, fatuous, and even silly. If you're of a sensitive disposition, I advise you not to read on from here, and I'm serious about that. If you're a parent, and already alarmed, I warn you to prepare to be enraged. Schools are currently rolling out a radical new SNP, Scottish Government Sex Education Policy. I use the term radical because it is nothing like the sex education anyone reading this article will have undergone. When I was at school, in second year science class, I was 12 or 13 then, I was first introduced to our bits. My class had to wait a whole year to find out what those bits were used for, and it was still taught in a science lab. Now, under the SNP Scottish Government's new policy, the mood has shifted dramatically to include discussions on genres of pornography, lesbian, interracial, facial, utilising porn and masturbation, paying for a prostitute, oral and anal sex. The accompanying learning materials are extremely graphic and sick, and you can read that for yourself. Right, and that's pretty graphic. Right, so driven by the SNP Scottish LGBT inclusive education curriculum, the envelope was pushed further into even more controversial territories, with the idea that a boy can be a girl and vice versa, forced upon their children. Academics have linked such dangerous teachings to early child sexuality, lowering the age of consent, and to paedophilia. In countries as far apart as Australia, Ireland, Canada and the USA, concerned parents have risen to protest against such practices as Drag Queen Story Hour, where a grown man, dressed as a cartoon-like woman and sometimes sporting demon horns, read nursery classes. This is madness. The SNP Scottish Government's policy is clearly prepared by loony theories which are in no way rooted in facts or science. It's based on a discredited progressive ideology, and their children are being used as the guinea pigs in this hellish social experiment, and the gruesome effects are already being felt. Last year, the Times reported that in Scotland, there was a breathtaking 80% increase in 4 to 10-year-olds being referred with gender identity issues. Referrals to Young People's Gender Service in Glasgow faced an 18-month waiting time to see a specialist in September, but now they and the family have to endure the misery for a full 2 years. Twitter social bellwethers are disgusted. Scottish parents have been recounting their experiences of the SNP government's indoctrination of the children, and the result makes some horrifying reading. Right, let's read. And these are all quotations. I just want to tell John Swinney that my son and his friends did not want to start primary 6 because of the sex education, and recent sleepovers have been stressful because a few of his friends, 9 and 10-year-olds, are touching each other's and his genitals and googling porn. I am disgusted by the SNP. Next, I just cannot understand the SNP. How dare they override any concerns that any normal parent would have over the truly dreadful policy on sex education in Scottish schools. No child should have to suffer this. Way beyond the normal views of sex school age, porn damages young minds. Next, you're lucky I have 12-year-old boys, and there will be war if anyone tries indoctrinating them with this bile. Parents should be educating on facts of life, not teachers, and I don't want social workers for teachers either. Also opposing the harmful indoctrination of children with radical sex education is the Scottish Family Party headed by Richard Lucas. The party was formed to fight the Scottish Government on this issue at a parliamentary level. At a National Parent Forum of Scotland event in Perth last year, as Mr. Lucas read out the grisly contents of the teaching materials on offer, he was shouted down by the host, whilst SNP Cabinet Secretary for Education, John Swinney, defended a curriculum replete with porn, prostitution, masturbation, anal sex, oral sex, and a heavy dose of transgender indoctrination. In a test exchange which can be viewed on YouTube, and I'll try and find a link, Mr. Lucas challenged Mr. Swinney to defend the teachings materials used in Scottish schools for RSHP, Relationship, Sexual Health and Parenting. Mr. Lucas asked Mr. Swinney if he would endorse materials which promote such horrors as licking of the anus, anal sex illustrated by dipping a banana in a jar of Nutella, and porn genres including facial ejaculation. The SNP's number 2 accepted that there was some sensitive material covered, but claimed the contents were age appropriate. The kids are 6.
No.
They're promoting nothing. I repeat my commendation for materials. He needs sacked. He's a politician. He's been elected. He should be sacked.
I know.
Right. So there you have it. The SNP Scottish Government has no intention of recycling from this harmful and corrupting national indoctrination of our children. Mr. Swinney, at the same event, advised parents to take their concerns in true buck-passing style directly to the individual schools themselves. I took Mr. Swinney's advice and called my son's school, asking for the head teacher and pouring out my fears as a parent. The next day I got a call from the assistant head. Speaking over me for the best part of 15 minutes, she mainly succeeded in making me think I was dealing with a member of a cult. She had several calls on the topic already and had managed to bamboozle them all into thinking that everything was fine with the new sexually explicit materials. She was testy, extremely forthright and combative, and was prepared for all of it. I asked her to confirm that children under 12 could be withdrawn from sex education, and she conceded this was indeed the case. That there should be some form of consultation with parents at the school level was news to her, though her handling of my opposition to such a sensitive issue was as cold and shambolic as Mr. Swinney's. I have now completely withdrawn my son from all sex education in the current SNP Scottish Government curriculum, and if you're a parent in a similar situation, I recommend you look into the RSHP materials and draw your own conclusions. There are some drawbacks in this action, however. For children over 12, the child can sidestep the parents' wishes, and furthermore, many aspects of the SNP government's LGBT inclusive education agenda find their way into absolutely every area of the curriculum and are unopposable by parents. If you want to save your child from this dangerous indoctrination, the only option is homeschooling before they get round to corrupting that too. I leave the final words to Edinburgh psychoanalyst Dr. Bruce Scott, who wrote an insightful and highly recommended piece on the subject for the Scottish Review. I'll try and link that. The bottom line is, the school is not a mental health clinic, and neither is it a suitable place to disseminate information on sexual behaviour or lifestyle, especially in the manner the Scottish Government intend to do. Now, I've had my own ideas on this, and I think what it would need to take is the parents and the teachers to go to school and boycott them and refuse to enter until they get their act together. But that is just my opinion. Well, thanks for watching and for listening, and I'm sorry if it upset you, but the truth is the truth, and that's what this channel is all about. Thanks for watching. Please comment.